Okay, now we have Rankine cycle or a steam power cycle or vapor power cycle. It's all the same. A steam power cycle, vapor power cycle or Rankine cycle, it's all the same. So this is the graph TS diagram for Rankine cycle. Okay. In Rankine cycle, boiler comprises of three terms. Okay, in boiler you have three units. First one is economizer, second one is evaporator, and third one is superheater. Okay, so heat supplied is done in three units. Okay, and heat rejection happens in condenser, or it may be rejected to the atmosphere. Okay, so this is the cycle. Once again, it's a clockwise work producing cycle. 1 to 2 work done by pump, 2 to 3 heat supplied, 3 to 4 work done by the turbine or expansion, and 4 to 1 is heat rejection. Compression and expansion are reversible adiabatic, and heat rejection and heat addition are reversible isobaric. Okay, pressure is constant. Now once again, as have been said in the Brayton cycle also, all these are positive value: work done by pump, work done by turbine, heat supplied, heat rejection. Okay, work done by pump, if you are given that a specific volume at the inlet of the compressor has been given, so you can find that work done by pump. Okay, so if it's a saturated liquid, so this is VF1, and PV minus PC is pressure difference between boiler and condenser. Now QS is also is equal to Tm into S3 minus S2. Tm is the mean temperature of heat addition. Now 4 is the most important point because it is in the wet region, so you have to find the dryness fraction. Okay, so it's an isentropic process because expansion is and compression both are in reversible adiabatic, means it's an isentropic process. So S3 is equal to S4. That means the value of the entropy that we are having at 3 is equal to value of entropy that we are having at 4. Okay, so at 3 we have Sg plus Cp ln T3 by T3 dash. Okay, here it's 3 dash. Okay, in the diagram you can see that is equal to Sf plus Xfg at 0.4. 4 is the pressure at this point, and this value you have to take the pressure at 3. Means this is the boiler and this is the condenser pressure. Okay, you have to equate the values at both these points, and once you have got the X value, you can find the enthalpy at 0.4 is equal to Hf plus Xhfg at 0.4. Okay, the value of Hfg at 0.4 plus value of Hf at 0.4. Okay, condenser pressure. Now comparing the efficiency of Carnot and Rankine cycle, you will find that efficiency of Carnot is more than efficiency of Rankine, but work done by Rankine cycle is more than work done by the Carnot cycle. Means network output of the Rankine cycle is more than the network output by the Carnot cycle, because here the work done by the Rankine, work output by the Rankine is more than work output by the Carnot, and work consumed by Rankine is less than work consumed in Carnot. Okay, so both are positive things. Then work done by turbine is more in Rankine, and work done by pump is less in Rankine. Now efficiency of Rankine cycle is equal to work done by turbine by heat supplied if work done by pump is not given. Okay, or a specific volume at the compressor inlet, because from that also you can find the WP value, work done by pump. So if you cannot find that work done by pump, you can just find work done by turbine and the heat supplied. Okay, Now, efficiency of Rankine cycle can be increased. It happens with every efficiency. It does not mean that efficiency of the Rankine cycle only. For any cycle, if you want to increase the efficiency, you have to increase the mean temperature of heat addition and decreasing the mean temperature of heat rejection. Okay. Now, how do we do this in Rankine cycle? So this is done by decreasing the condenser pressure or increasing the boiler pressure or superheating. Now the three processes are shown here. Okay. This is the saturation curve. The red one is the saturation curve. Now these are all the Rankine cycle without any further attachment. This is the Rankine cycle for both the three. Okay. Now in superheating, this happens. Okay. If you are decreasing the condenser pressure, this happens. And if you are increasing the boiling pressure, this happens. So you are getting this extra unit. Here also you are getting this extra unit, and here also you are getting this extra unit. Okay. So what happens by superheating? Okay. TS diagram is there. So in superheating, efficiency increases, dryness fraction increases, heat supplied increases, mean temperature of heat addition increases, while the mean temperature of heat rejection remains the same. How this happens? Okay. Heat supplied is increasing because you are seeing this extra part. Now mean temperature of heat addition is also increasing because also once again you can see that this is the increasing part. Okay. So these two values. Now dryness fraction is increasing. First it was here, now it's here. Okay. So dryness fraction is also increasing. Now mean temperature of heat addition is increasing, hence efficiency is also increasing. Okay. However, the mean temperature of heat rejection remains the same at this point only. Okay. Now in condenser pressure, if you are decreasing the condenser pressure, here what's happening? Efficiency is increasing. This dryness fraction still remains the same at 0.4. Heat rejection, heat supplied increases because this is the additional value. Okay, here it's additional value, heat supplied increases. Mean temperature of heat addition increases once again because this is the additional value. Okay, and mean temperature of heat rejection decreases because initially it was a blue point and now it's gone below. Okay. Now increasing the boiling pressure, once again efficiency increases, work done by turbine increases because this value, because it's a above value. Okay, this rate term is going above like this, here will go above. So work done by turbine also increases, work done by pump also increases because this red part is there. Okay, this also increases. Mean temperature of heat addition increases because this is the higher value. Okay, the red goes above more, so mean temperature of heat addition increases also, while the dryness fraction remains the same at this point only. Okay, so this is the three terms: superheating, decreasing condenser pressure, and increasing boiling pressure, that is done in Rankine cycle to increase the efficiency. Now we will see the Rankine cycle using the elements. Okay, means we will see the economizer, superheater, evaporator, turbine, pump, all things, feed water heater in regenerative cycle, reheater in reheating cycle. So we will all see these components in these diagrams. Okay, this is the proper Rankine cycle. Okay, so heating is done in the economizer, evaporator, and S is the superheater. Okay, from the boiler it goes into the turbine where the expansion happens. Then it goes to the condenser. It rejects the final heat, and from the condenser it goes to the pump and once again fed into the boiler. Okay, in reheater, from the boiler the steam goes into the high pressure turbine. From high pressure turbine, once again the steam gets reheated from the boiler and goes into the low pressure turbine, does the expansion work, finally goes into the condenser and then into pump and finally fed into the boiler. Okay, now in regenerative cycle, what happens is that you are taking the fragments of the mass of the steam from the turbine and using it to preheat the feed water. Okay, so a steam is releasing from the boiler, entering into the turbine. Okay, from the turbine at different steps we are taking out the steam from the turbine. Okay, so here are the three lines, three arrows showing that a steam is taking out from the turbine at different stages. Okay, so you are taking a different mass of steam from the turbine, and finally whatever the steam is left out finally goes into the condenser, rejects the heat, and from the pump it is finally put back into the boiler. Okay, so this is the regenerative cycles. In feed water heater, the heat is given to the steam and finally fed into the boiler. Okay, so we will see the regenerative cycle and reheating cycle. First we will see the reheat cycle. Okay, so in reheat cycle, heating is done in steps. Okay, expansion is done in steps while the heating is done in between the expansion. So this is the cycle. Okay, so this is the reheat cycle. From 1 to 2 it's compression, then 2 to 3 dash this is heat supplied, then 3 dash to 4 dash it's expansion in high pressure turbine, then 4 dash to 3. Okay, once again the heat supplied is there, means reheating is done there, and 3 to 4 is expansion in low pressure turbine. Okay, and 4 to 1 finally heat is rejected into the condenser. Hence the work done by turbine is equal to H3 dash minus H4 dash, means work done by the high pressure turbine, plus H34 minus H4 means work done by the low pressure turbine. Okay, output work done or not, output from the high pressure turbine and output from the low pressure turbine. Now work done by the pump is equal to H2 minus H1, no effect. Heat rejected is equal to H3 dash minus H2 and H3 minus H4 dash. Okay, here also heat is supplied, heat rejected or heat supplied. Heat supplied is in boiler and heat supplied is also in reheater. Okay, now heat rejected is H4 minus H1, which has not been affected. So only two things are affected in the reheat cycle, which is work done by turbine and heat supplied. Okay, reheating is done in 4 dash to 3. Okay, now reheat factor. Reheat factor is work done by turbine with reheating by the work done of turbine without reheating. Okay, now the regenerative cycle. this is the TS diagram. This is saturation curve. Okay, so this is the regenerative cycle. As has been said before, that a steam from the turbine exit is used to heat the water entering the boiler. Okay, means preheat the water entering the boiler. Okay, now whatever you are seeing x1, x2, these are the mass fraction, not dryness fraction here. Mass fraction of a steam extracted from the turbine. Okay, so work done by pump is equal to, because here it's the mass fraction is 1. Now from x1 mass fraction has been taken out. Again x2 mass fraction is taken out. So in the condensation, the heat is ejected only by 1 minus x1 into x2. Okay, heat is ejected only by this portion. So we will see the work done by pump. So work done by pump is done in 1 to 2, 3 to 4 and 5 to 6. So we have work done by pump is equal to 1 minus x1 minus x2 into h2 minus h1, which is the 1 to 2. Then 1 minus x1 into h3 minus h4, which is 3 to 4, and h6 minus h5, which is 5 to 6. Okay, now work done by turbine is equal to h7 minus h8. Okay, whole mass fraction is going here. Then 1 minus x1, h8 minus h9, because x1 has been taken out, only 1 minus x1 part is expanding here from 8 to 9, and finally 1 minus x1 minus x2 into h9 minus h10 is going from 9 to 10. So this is the output here we are getting from the turbine. So finally work done by pump is equal to this, and work done by turbine is equal to this. Now using these two values you can find the efficiency also. Okay, you can also compute the heat supplied and heat rejected if the values are given. Now regenerative cycle, what happens? Efficiency increases, a specific fuel consumption decreases, mean temperature of heat addition increases, work done by turbine decreases. Yes, decreases because it had been more, the whole mass had been expanding, more output we would have got, but we are taking out the mass from the steam, we are taking the fraction of mass from the steam, so we are not getting the full turbine output that we would have got if the regenerative cycle would not have been here. So in regenerative cycle, efficiency increases, a specific fuel consumption decreases, mean temperature of heat addition increases. Okay, work done by turbine decreases, and heat rejection also decreases, because you are seeing 1 minus x1 minus x2, only this portion is rejecting heat, so heat rejection also decreases. So thank you.